So, the reason why we can experience senses in our body is because we have special structures in our skin and body parts called sensory receptors. And there's lots of different types of sensory receptors. For example, pain sensory receptors or nociceptors. These are the receptors that can be located in our skin, in our bones, in our muscle, other organs that detect pain stimuli specifically. Some other receptors, for example, the heat sensing receptors, also located in our skin and other body parts, will detect the temperature changes related to the increasing temperatures to the temperatures that are higher than the body temperature. So what happens is that these sensory receptors, they're located in so many different parts of our body. There's lots of them in our skin, especially skin is like one of the most sensitive organs in our bodies. It has the highest density of the sensory receptors, so it's extremely responsive to various stimuli that activate these sensory receptors in skin. So the way it works, there are going to be sensory receptors in various parts of the body. These sensory receptors, they can be excited or activated by special stimuli. So, for example, the pain receptors in our skin are activated by the stimulus of pain. So, in this case, will be heat, like extreme heat. It could be other things like maybe it's an extreme cold, or maybe it's a cut or laceration or bruising from extreme pressure. So this stimulus activates the sensory receptors in our skin. The sensory receptors themselves, they get activated, but they don't give us a lot of information. Our information is a process in the brain, so the sensory receptors have to send this information about the stimulus to the brain, and the way they do that is through nerves. So this green, highlighted in green nerve, will send the information all the way to the brain where we can actually feel it or perceive it. The sensory nerves that carry information from the sensory receptors to the brain are called sensory nerves. They're also known as afferent nerves with an A. As opposed to motor nerves that carry information from the brain to body parts. They're called efferent nerves. So sensory nerves carry information from sensory receptors. Could be in skin, could be in muscle, could be in the heart, in bones. So lots of different parts. Except the brain. The brain actually does not have sensory receptors itself. So weird. So the brain itself doesn't really feel things related to the brain. It only processes the information it receives from the rest of the body.